Well, Kamala Harris is lying to people in Pennsylvania. And we know that because she's not just some random person off the street. She's been the sitting vice president for 4 years. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been the single most anti-Israel administration this country has ever seen. You know, it was interesting when she did a 60 Minutes interview, she was asked, who's the biggest enemy America has? And she came back with Iran, which is a very good answer. And bizarrely enough, 60 Minutes didn't follow with the obvious response of, well, then why have you given them $100 billion? Why do you allow them today to sell 2 million barrels a day of oil? Why are you funding Iran? And Iran provides 90% of the funding to Hamas and 90% of the funding to Hezbollah. They didn't follow up with that question, but her record has been clear that if, God forbid, Kamala Harris is president, I think it gets much, much worse for Israel. Joe Biden's a puppet. He doesn't know what's going on. He's barely aware of what's surrounding him. Kamala Harris is a true believer. I've served with her since the day she was elected to the Senate. She is hard left. Her voting record is to the left of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That ain't easy. I served with Bernie and Elizabeth. There's not much room to their left. And Kamala Harris's voting record is virtually identical to my opponent, Colin Allred. Colin Allred is Kamala Harris. They are both hard left, open border, anti-Israel radicals who are desperately trying to cover up their record. They're hiding in Joe Biden's basement together, and they're counting on millions and millions of dollars from George Soros to try to convince the American people their voting record is different than it was. Whoa. By the way, Kamala's message in Pennsylvania, if she actually meant it, you ought to ask yourself, why didn't she pick Josh Shapiro as her VP? And the answer is, in today's Democrat Party, they could not stomach a candidate who was Jewish. Shapiro might well have won the state of Pennsylvania for her, but the pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party could not imagine, could not tolerate